What's up, guys? This is an impromptu live, but earlier today, I had the opportunity of learning from a man who, every time he speaks, I am absolutely blown away that this amount of wisdom could be housed in one person. Now, this is someone who, when he was younger, he was so shy, so insecure, so timid that in class, if a teacher were to ask him to answer a question, he would literally start shaking, he would start crying, and he would be unable to answer the question. And with one decision, his life completely changed. I'm going to share with you what that decision was towards the end of the call, but when he was at that place, he made that one decision, and that one decision took him to now being the author of over 300 books. Before the conflict with Russia and Ukraine, he was pastoring the largest church in Europe and had helped over 200 people to become millionaires. His name is Pastor Sunday Adelaja. And by the grace of God, I was able, like I said, to learn from him this morning. And I wanted to come and share with you guys just four of the main takeaways that I took from this call. And if you guys are interested in being in the room next time somebody of this caliber is being interviewed, let me know in the comments just by simply putting access. I'll remind you at the end. But you just simply put access in the comments, and I will personally send you the link that you need to be able to join Self-Mastery Academy or Limitless Life Labs the next time that somebody else comes and drops gems, because I promise you, it was the first call that I had today, and it set the tone, not just for my day, but I promise you it set the tone for the rest of my life. The rest of my life. It was an extraordinary call, and it's been such a busy day, but I was like, no. I am absolutely gonna come on Instagram Live and then of course post this on YouTube so that the people can hear what I had the chance to hear earlier today. So if you haven't heard of Pastor Sunday, like I said, he is a phenomenal individual full of wisdom. And during the conversation today, he was being interviewed by Twain Crandall for her podcast. I'll put all the information in the comments / description. But when they first started speaking, the very first thing that he decided to talk about was time. Time is life. So that's the very first thing that I want to just go into a little bit today. So he actually has a book called Time is Life. And he just shared with us that the top performers, the top achievers in this life all measure themselves not just by the year or by the month, but literally down to the week, down to the day, down to the second. They're always super cognizant of time and how their time is being used. And there was 3 main ways that he shared with us that time can be allocated in this lifetime. We can either waste time, we can spend time, or we can invest time. It's done in multiple ways. We can write books, we can be a parent, we can be a mentor, we can be a volunteer. There's so many ways to pour back. We can be a content creator. We can be an author. There's so many different ways that we can multiply the time that we have in this life by choosing to give back. And he used the example of the podcast itself. So the podcast, I want to say, was about 2 hours during that recording. And of course, we're never going to get back that 2 hours. Whoever was present for the live recording, Toyin, who was interviewing, Pastor Sunday, who was being interviewed, none of us are going to get back those 2 hours, but because it was recorded, that time is able to be turned into, an exchange. It was exchanged for a product. And this product is going to be able to touch people's lives every single time that someone sees the video on Spotify or on YouTube or wherever they see it, decides to click and decides to listen. And that's how, in that particular moment, because of decisions, again, time was able to be maximized. People were gathered all together. We were all there for a common purpose of learning, growing, being in community with people who are like-minded. And it was honestly such a powerful, powerful call. So time is life. I'm going to see if there's anything else like specifically that I wrote down. So here, when you finish your time, your life is over. And like I know that we get that concept like at a logical level. We know that when our time is up, then our life is over. But many of us aren't really living as if we understand that. Let's say you have a water bottle, and I have one here. Okay, so this is a water bottle. And if I were to open it up and I had a cup and I poured some out, even the duration of this live video, some of my life is being poured out. I'm not actually gonna pour it on myself, but you get the idea. Whatever amount of water is, let's say this water bottle is indicative of all the time that will be allocated to you here in this lifetime. As it's being poured out, it's gone after that. And what are you doing with your time? I really left that conversation so much more thankful that I was more aware of how like my time is so valuable. And not just is it so valuable, but I have to be so intentional about choosing the best usage of my time, because I will never again get it back. And it's not just me, it's everyone. It is every single one of us. That water's gone. But time is life. That was the very first thing that we spoke about. Every one of us is exchanging our time / our life for something. We could be converting our life or our time into something, or we could be wasting it. You can either convert time, you can either invest time, or you can waste time. Make sure that you convert your life into something that's in line. Make sure that you convert your life, which is your time, into something that is in line with the reason that God. One is discover, why is it that God created you? What was it that God had in mind for this earth, that he saw it fit to send you to this earth? That's the very first thing. And I didn't write this down, but he was just speaking about the education system and the fact that I know there's so many people who they're not fans of the education system. And that's not really the point that I'm bringing today. But what I would say is that the benefit of going through a structured education should be to find out what are your propensities, what are the things that you're good at, what are the things that you're drawn to. Are you drawn to the arts? Are you drawn to science? Are you drawn to languages? Are you drawn to mathematics? What are you drawn to? Discover the reason that God put you here, so that as you are going through this journey of life, and your time is finite, as we know, you'll be able to apply yourself in the areas that mean the most. Not, well, you know what? Yes, I will say mean the most, but what I really want to say is you'll be able to apply yourself in the areas where God really wanted you to thrive in. And that was actually number 2. Number 2 was, after you discover this, add value to yourself in this area. So if you discover that, you know what, God must have wanted me to be a musician because I am so talented at this, just naturally talented at this. Now you begin to add value to yourself in this area. Now, this could look like you going to study music in school. This could look like you joining a band. This could look like you doing a number of different things, learning about music production, getting around people who are in the music industry, whatever that looks like for you, but you're adding value to yourself in the particular area that you have discovered. This is why I am here. This is the reason that I'm here on earth. That was number 2. One little caveat that I will say here is that oftentimes when people hear higher education or adding value to themselves, they think that it automatically means that they have to go to a university or a college, get a 2-year degree, 3-year degree, 4-year degree, 10-year degree, 12-year degree. I don't know. They just think that automatically it means they have to go to a university or college, but that's not always the case. There are other ways of educating yourself. For example, internships. For example, mentorship. For example, reading books. For example, joining masterminds. There are so many different ways of educating yourself. And that was point number 2. Once you figure out, what am I here for? Let's say it's music. Let's say I'm here for music. Okay, that's good. I've checked off that box. Now, number 2, let me add value to myself in this area. Let me study this instrument. Let me know the history. Let me become an expert at this thing. And that's actually number 3. Become skilled in this area. And that is how we make use of the time / our life that God has gifted to us. I actually have a timer for IG, so I'm hoping that it doesn't affect me, because I gotta watch my social media time. And so it just reminded me that I've got a 5 minutes limit left on my time that I've allocated for the day. So hopefully this live will continue past then. All right, so those were the top 3 things. Ego, welcome. I'm not sure if you were on the call earlier today. I'm literally doing a recap of the amazing call that we had with Pastor Sunday in Limitless Life Labs. So number 2, the second thing that I noticed that that really stood out to me that I wanted to share with you guys tonight was about thinking. Okay, there's a lot of people, this line really got me. Listen to this really closely. Some of us are overthinkers, but we're not thinking with quality thoughts. Yes, please, you have to go back and listen to the replay, and the episode will be up. I believe she said, I was talking to Toyin, next Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the entire edited thing will be up next Tuesday. But in terms of thinking, some of us are overthinkers, but we're not thinking quality thoughts. And I can attest to this. I can attest to the fact that there are some people who literally will think about every single aspect of a situation, but they're not really thinking quality thoughts that lead them to solutions. They're not really thinking quality thoughts that lead them to believing the word of God concerning that situation. So they're just kind of like ruminating over facts that are not really taking them anywhere. And it was just when he started to talk about thinking, I was convicted that I have to be so much more intentional about my thought life. Some people think that they're thinking, but the last time that they thought like some quality thoughts, they probably couldn't even tell you. So that one for me really, really spoke to me. And there was, this line was really, really good. It says, so many people are willing to be hardworking with their bodies, but most people are lazy with their thinking. Most or many people are willing to be hardworking with their bodies, but most people are lazy when it comes to their thinking. And I thought about it and I said, oh my goodness, it's true. There are people who are in let's say a job that they really don't like. In this job, they have to work hard with their physical body. It might be 12-hour shifts. It might be super laborious. They might have like, really heavy weights that they have to carry. Or it's a job where they have to sit for 8 hours at a time, and it's really like, it's hard on the body. They're willing to work hard physically. But if you ask that same person who really dislikes their job, when was the last time you sat down and thought about how you can work your way out of this job? Or perhaps not even work your way is not even the best word, but have you ever sat down and thought about how to not be in this job? Have you given yourself the space, the room, the time to think quality thoughts about, okay, so this is my life currently. This is how I'm living currently. This is the job that I'm in currently. It checks these boxes. I get paid, check. I'm able to support my family, check. I'm able to do a couple things, check. But overall, this isn't what I want. How do I get from where I am to where I want to go? And many people, if they're honest, they'll have to like admit that they actually haven't sat down and thought these quality thoughts about, What's up, Mark? Good to see you, as always. Yeah, they just haven't thought about what does it look like to be on the other side? What does it look like? Mark, since you just joined, for the benefit of you, I was just sharing a recap of this call that I was on earlier today. It was an interview, and the person being interviewed is Pastor Sunday Adelaja. If you've not heard of him, please look him up. He went from being super timid, very shy, super insecure, unable to speak up in any public setting, to literally leading the largest church in Europe. I'm talking hundreds of thousands of people, right? Oh, I hope we're back. I hope we're back. Anyways, before the Ukraine Russia conflict, and helping over 200 people become millionaires and authoring over 300 books. Okay, we're back. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for letting me know. But yes, I did freeze for a second because I got a notification from IG to say it's your time to get off IG. But I ignored that for today. So that is who we're talking about today. And he was just talking about thinking. This is what he said. So many people are willing to work hard with their body, but most people are lazy when it comes to their thinking. It's a true fact. And I wrote that down and I was just like, wow. The whole entire episode will be available next week, Tuesday. I was just part of the live recording today. And I definitely suggest that you guys go check out the episode when it is uploaded. All right. When it comes to thinking, there are laws to thinking. There's 3 laws that I want to share. Number 1, you have to have intellectual humility. If you guys can, just put it in the chat. Intellectual humility. What does that mean? It just means admitting that we don't know everything. We might know quite a few things in a particular area, but we do not know everything. And it's okay. It's okay to say that we don't know everything, because truthfully, who does? Nobody knows everything. Intellectual humility, being willing to say, you know what? Where I am right now isn't where I want to be. There's some information between where I am and where I want to go. So let me go, find someone who has this information, get this information, apply this information, so that my life can look different in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years. So that was the first law of thinking. You must have intellectual humility. Or in fact, I said that there are laws, and that was the first thing I wrote down. Number 2, you then must have intellectual courage. You must have the courage to be able to go and seek out this information. Sometimes it's going to mean that you're putting yourselves, in places where perhaps you may not have been comfortable before, but this is where the information you need is. Intellectual courage. Thank you for putting them in the chat, Ego. Intellectual courage. And last but not least, you have to overcome laziness to stretch yourself. And then you must have intellectual curiosity. This one thing that he mentioned was so true, because a lot of times when kids ask a lot of questions, what do? We're like, why are you asking so many questions? Like, why are you asking all them questions? That's what we tell kids, or a lot of people. That's what a lot of people have heard as kids, or that they were asked as a kid. But when we do that, we literally shut down their intellectual curiosity, because this is how they are figuring out the world. This is how they're figuring out, how does this work? And why does this work this way? And why does this always come after this? And does it have to always come after this? Intellectual curiosity is something that we need. And this is how we can start to have better quality thoughts. Being humble, being courageous, and being curious. So that was something really, really profound to me. The next thing that I wrote down here is don't let life humble you. Okay, so I'm just going to read some of the comments here. Welcome, Rohan. So I feel in both of those. That being said, I feel like some things I want to do traps me into negative flame. Also thinking negative. Well, here's the thing. I feel like sometimes all of us are, and just correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm answering your question or your statement not exactly as to what you were saying, but I feel like in some respects, like, there is moments where all of us are negative, but that's why it's so important to get around people who are positive in their thinking, get around people who see more possibilities than they see challenges, because you're always going to have challenges in life. You're always going to have just some different things that are present in front of you, and it's all about, again, the thinking. It's all about being more willing to work hard to think quality thoughts, or not even work hard, but be committed to thinking quality thoughts about any situation. Because there really is a way of thinking that is super low level, very low level. Like, the average person is thinking, like, they look at the situation and the average person is seeing like one or two or three things. But if you actually gave yourself some time to think about it, to be, what is the first one? Humble. To say, okay, this is the situation, this is how I would normally look at it, but let me be humble and go get the opinion or the information of somebody who probably has a different perspective. Then, after I've been humble, let me be courageous to put some things into place. This isn't how I would have responded, but based on the fact that I'm trying to break out of a particular type of thinking, let me be courageous to try this new thing. And let me continue to be curious and asking questions. Right? So, intellectual courage. Yes. Perspective shifts approach. 100%. 100%. Yeah, so those were the three things that he mentioned about thinking. So intellectual humility, intellectual courage, intellectual curiosity. Time. This one, I'm not going to go super in depth with this one, but time was also something that we spoke about on the call earlier today. And there really is a window of opportunity that we have the ability to take advantage of in our lives. And just to give you an example, like I mentioned at the top of this call, Pastor Sunday, he is originally from Nigeria, but he immigrated to the Ukraine. And he had written all of these books, he had all of this content online, and my friend discovered him. So together with her husband, they were watching the content, and they were so blessed. They applied the information that they became millionaires. And they decided in around 2020, the top of the year, let's see if we can go to Ukraine and thank him in person. Thank Pastor Sunday in person. Perhaps even shake his hand. Just let him know that we did what you told us to do through your teachings, through your books, and here's the outcome. We just wanted to thank you. And they thought, this man is super busy. I can imagine, having written 300 books, you're going to possibly be a very busy person, pastoring the largest church in Europe, a busy person. They thought that they wouldn't necessarily have too much time with him, but he actually set aside time for them during the duration that they were there and answered their questions. Question after question after question after question. He just kept giving them value and insight. And would you believe it? The time frame that they went to see and meet him in Ukraine was February 2020. If they had not gone to meet him in February 2020, within a few days, within a few weeks, the entire world would have been shut down for COVID. And I actually just got a notification from my phone, so I gotta hurry this up. But time, right? That is so awesome. There is a window of time. Going back to the very first thing that he spoke about, time is life. And if we really recognize that every single moment that is being poured out, it's not coming back. So what did I do with my time? How did I invest my time? Who did I pour into? What did I produce? Who was I being? What did I do with my time? All right, and the very last thing that I want to talk about is reasoning. Questions was something that he talked about, and I wrote down some of the things that he mentioned. So number one, questions define your depth. Questions define your depth. Number two, you're welcome, Ego. Number two, questions determine your destiny. They determine your destiny, and doors open when you ask the right questions. And I would even add to that, when you think the right thoughts, doors will begin to open. Because instead of seeing that, the door is locked on this side, now your perspective is shifted and you're like, wait, the door is locked, but there's also a window over there. Perhaps I'm not telling you to like go through windows and stuff, but what I'm trying to say is perspective allows you to see what you were not seeing before. All right. So questions define your depth. They determine your destiny, and the right questions will open doors. Now, this, I entitled this live, All You Need Is This One Thing. And the one thing that changed his life completely, from being so timid, so shy, to being the person who we see today, was a decision to repackage himself, a decision to change, and a decision to commit to continuous growth and learning. That was the one decision that he made. At one point in his life, he looked at himself and he said, I don't want to continue living this way. I don't want to continue letting life pass me by. I don't want to continue believing that blessings are just for other people and that they're not for me. And he determined that he was going to grow. He was going to change. He was going to evolve. That was the one decision that he made that changed everything for him. So I don't even think I introduced myself. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, my name is Stephanie Kerr. I was just doing a recap of a live recording for a podcast that I was a part of earlier today. It will be available Tuesday of next week at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll put all the information so that you guys can head over and check it out when it is available. But I hope that this live blessed you guys, and I hope that there was something you were able to take away. The most important thing that I hope that you take away is that time is life. When you think about how you spend your time, it is equivalent to how you are spending your life. These moments will never ever return to us. And at the end of it, when our time is out, our life will be out. When our time has run out, our life will have ended. And that's when we'll be able to look and see, what is it that this individual did with their time? With all of the time that they were given, did they discover why they were here? Did they add value to themselves in that area? And did they improve their skills so that their time could be multiplied through what they produced, through who they were, through how they served other people, through how they showed up? That is my encouragement to you guys today. Time is life. There's windows of opportunity, windows of time that we will never, ever see again. And I want to encourage every single person who will ever watch this video to really take some of these questions and think about how you're living your life, because time is life. My name is Stephanie Kerr, and I hope that you enjoyed this recap, this resume of this podcast. Again, I will put all the information for you guys. And until the next live, I hope you guys stay blessed. Take care.